boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. Said the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. Hello, we're here live in my best friend's house. Unfortunately, my mom's having a world conference meeting, so I can't be doing any talking in her house, or she might get fired. I'm Young Mantis, the host of That Boy Bents. I think to my left, we got Colin, the Siberian Husky. It's a big guy. It's a big dog. He needs to find an owner right now. It's a good boy. And today's guest for episode 16, we got the notorious Nick Newell.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on. I'm a big fan, so it's good to be on the show.
I'm glad you said that, because one, thank you. That means a lot. And two, I was going to get right into how we kind of connected through Instagram. I don't know what it was, but I think one day you followed me, and then we'll follow each other back. But we were talking to DMs as friends, just saying us, just for bros talking to DMs too, not just guys and girls. I think we connected through, believe Barstool and funny videos. And then I invited Nick onto the podcast. It's an incredible story, and he's a dope ass fighter.
Yeah, my friend, actually my college roommate, Rob, he sent me your video ordering the Travis Scott meal.
Hi, may I help you?
Hi, a guy named Cactus Jack sent me.
Excuse me?
Yes, Cactus Jack sent me.
What's that?
It's I was told. Anyway, never mind. I'll do the Travis Scott meal.
Okay. And what to drink?
Well, Sprite, of course.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sprite, please.
Medium or large?
Medium.
Alrighty, I've got one Travis Scott meal. Anything else?
That'll be it.
Thank you. 653.
It's lit. Right?
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Oh, shoot.
So I was like, I started laughing because me and my friend Rob, we love like awkward moments, and like you just made it like so the Cactus Jack sent me thing, and they had no idea what was going on, and like McDonald's tweeted to say Cactus Jack sent me, but none of their employees knew, and it was like real awkward. And then you're like, what to drink? And you're like, Sprite, of course.
Dude, that's hilarious. People think that was staged. That's just literally how I taught the girls. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, so I started laughing. I thought it was funny because it was so awkward. And then I watched it probably like a ton of times. I was like, okay, I gotta follow this guy.
That's freaking dope, man. That's actually crazy. Terrence Ross, he plays for the Orlando Magic. He's an NBA player. He followed me after my in-state student athlete video. That was another viral one that went off last year. And then I got you following me from the Cactus Jack. Damn, that's dope.
Hey, Nick, have you checked out episode 15 yet? The Valentine's Day episode?
Where he calls up every girl that he ever kissed?
Yeah, have you listened to that one yet?
I listened to parts of it.
If you like awkward moments, just fast forward to the section where he starts calling the girls, man, and you'll have a head. Get your buddy over, have a pizza party or something, and listen to that, because that's about as awkward as it gets. So
yeah, I called a girl that I'm talking to right now. I called her the name of the second girl that I made out with in my life.
That always goes over well.
Nick, what's your he called you the Notorious, which that's McGregor's nickname. Do you have like a nickname? Or
yeah, that was my nickname first. I was popular in America before him. Yeah. Oh. I had that nickname, and he was like overseas. No one knew who he was, and I was fighting on TV first. He just happened to get more popular, and he became the biggest star in the world, and he had my nickname, and I'm like, well, I'm not changing it. I had it before I even knew who he was.
We should have a fight,
battle
for the Notorious.
Yeah, I'm trying to get paid, so that makes sense.
We need a battle for right now. Dana. Yeah, we need to call our guy Brandon, the Photoshop expert. Get a poster set up right now.
Instead of the BMF belt, it'll be the Notorious belt.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And yeah, we're the same weight class too. So there you go.
This has to happen now. For those who don't know Nick, he is an MMA fighter, UFC fighter. He's done like all the leagues. He's fought in the FXFC, the World Series of Fighting, Legacy Fight Alliance. He's been through it all. For those who aren't big fans, Nick, do you want to talk about your journey, how you started fighting?
I'm known because I fight in the big leagues, but I became popular because I was born with one hand. So I was a little different. I'm missing my left hand. I have most of my left arm, and then like three-fourths of my arm, and just no hand. I basically started fighting because I was a wrestler. And after I was done wrestling, I wanted to try something new. And I was like, oh, well, that looks like fun, because I was younger. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to learn how to fight. And I only started wrestling because I used to like pro wrestling. Me and my friend, this guy, Newell, he was my neighbor. We used to watch WWE all the time. And we used to like wrestle each other. When I was younger, my dad tried to get me to do wrestling, but I want to play baseball because I like Jim Abbott. And then when I got to high school, I was like, you know what? I should try wrestling. It'd be cool to like, I said, I like wrestling with my friends. I'll give it a go. And I was small. I was only like maybe like 98 pounds my freshman year. It was important to me to like learn how to defend myself. I was like, you know what? I gotta just give this a go. So I started wrestling and I lost a ton of my matches. I think I lost like my first 17 matches. I was like, well, I could quit, but then I would just be horrible at this for the rest of my life. And I was like, if I quit now, I'll never get better at this, and just everyone will be able to beat me up. And I just wasn't comfortable with that. So I still had fun. I made a bunch of friends. So my friend Pete, he wanted me to like wrestle in the off season. So I joined a club, and everyone at the club was beat me up, and I just basically spent my whole summer like not going to parties or anything, just get beat up at my wrestling club. Yeah. And then the next season I came back and I started winning because all the other people that weren't training weren't getting better, and I got better. So I ended up going all state by my senior year. And I went to college, wrestled through college, was captain of my team twice. I won matches in 6 different weight classes. And then I went on to become a professional fighter after that.
That's crazy you stuck with it, man. A lot of people would have given up, you know, in high school, especially, I mean, hell, losing 17 matches. For you to stick with it and just continue to get better, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. You know what it was? It's just that I liked the guys on the team, even though they would like bust my chops. And small kid with a squeaky voice, and I was real awkward and
you're describing me right now.
And I was like, never cool. I've never been cool in my life. So like the older I get, the more it just becomes normal, my awkwardness. So you know, it wasn't really my arm. They didn't make fun of me for that. I was just like, I always had something to say, and I was just like a little guy, and I liked it. I liked it, and they became my friends. So I was like, oh, I want to hang out with them. So I just kept wrestling. The byproduct of that was I became good at it.
This is interesting. Is like, I think you and me are very relatable. Like we're both, I would say we're both some popular people, but we both like, you have a amputated hand. I have like an undiagnosed condition. Like there's no name for it. We just call it like BDS, which is big dick syndrome, or just being bent. So I feel like growing up too, I know it's a horrible condition, BDS. So I wish upon nobody, but like growing up, people would always stare at me, and like they would always point at me and like kind of like shrug somebody's shoulder, hey, like what's wrong with them? What's that? So when did you start realizing people started knowing you for Nick instead of the guy with one hand?
It's kind of like a weird thing, and I think you can relate to this. It's like, okay, for me, I'm not a one-handed fighter. Even a fighter isn't really what describes me as a person. It's what I'm known for, you know. But like there's it's so much more complex than that. But like the one-handed guy, I've never fought to be like known as that or do that. But on the same note, it's part of who I am. It's something people notice, and it's something I gotta roll, you know. I accept myself for how I am. So I'm not like yelling at people to like be inspired by me, but yeah. You know, but I'm just out here doing my thing and not asking for any special treatment or anyone to take it easy on me, and just hanging in there with the guys, with the big dogs. And I like it that way. I don't want anyone to hold my hand. I don't want any special treatment. You know, if people remember me because I have one hand, it's like I'm not uncomfortable with the fact that this is the way I am. So that's okay.
That's amazing. I can relate to that very much. Like growing up, I was always a kid with like, just like, who's the kid with the back problem, or who's that? Then it came into like, yeah, I know, Colin. so many jokes that we've been thrown at, but like then I becoming like, I used to be a ball boy for the Colts. So I was like, oh, that's the ball boy for the Colts. And then it turned to that's the funny kid, IUPUI. But at the end of the day, like my condition still it doesn't define who I am. It's just what I look like, but I'm more known to be like a entertaining guy. So I'm very glad that you had your story too. This was like very, very relatable.
Yeah. One of my friends from Long Island was hanging out with me. And we went to like, we went somewhere, and he's like, yo, I'm about to like New York people are just different, especially Long Island people. And he's like, yo, man, and like everyone's staring at me, man. Like he's getting mad, like ready to fight someone. And then he realized that everyone was just looking at my arm. And he's like, oh.
For so many years, I had to deal with people staring at me, so I was like pissed off but couldn't do anything. But now I would get stared at the bars of public, and I always think they're staring at me because of my back, but they're always staring at me because I'm Mantis of the internet celebrity. So I always forget about that. So I'm still getting pissed, and then they're all coming to me like, "Hey, you're Mantis," and I'm trying to cool it off my shoulders. And oh yeah, what's up, man? So I still deal with that a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, my thing is I just stare at people all the time anyway, so I can't be a hypocrite. I'm mad at people staring at me when I'm staring at people all the time.
Yeah, stare off.
At least you guys have an excuse. Imagine just getting stared at because you're ugly. I mean, imagine how I feel. It's like you guys are at least, good looking dudes and you have a reason. Like people just stare at me because they're like, shit, dude, ugly as hell.
Could have said it better.
It is what it is. I always tell Austin, it's like, it's a strength. It's what makes him unique. It's what makes him a special individual, makes him recognizable. People know him for that. And that, I've always told him, he'll remember me saying this, but I said, if you're walking down the street and I'm walking down the street, nobody knows who I am, nobody cares who I am, but people recognize him. People, know him for who he is. And I think that's what makes him special. And I think, same for you, man. That's to be able to do what you're doing is incredible. It would be incredible for a normal person, but then, normal being like, I have two hands, I'd go in there and get my ass kicked. So for you to be able to do that in what, 16-3 is that record? Is that right?
Yeah.
Keep it up. That's exciting stuff.
Appreciate that. I train every day, all year round. I'm in the gym all the time, always grinding, always trying to get better, always studying, doing stuff like that. And even at 34 years old, I'm still learning, and I've been training since I was 14. So it's been like 20 years that I've been obsessed with this, with like no time off or anything, always trying to get better. So it's like, for me, it's an obsession. It has nothing to do with how I was born. It's just my passion and what I like. And when you follow something you like and something you enjoy, it turns to
You mentioned you were a WWE fan growing up.
Oh,
who was your favorite wrestler?
You got to talk about time periods, right? So when I was a kid, I was Team Ultimate Warrior.
You're a little bit older than we are, so
Yeah.
I could see that.
10 years on us.
So then I shifted to Bret Hart.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a classic. Old
And
school.
then I would say, if I was like your guys' time, I would say probably Kurt Angle.
You suck.
Okay.
You suck. Yes.
There's actually
man,
a video, I'll post it soon, actually, of me at WrestleMania. If you go online and you look up Diesel versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, Diesel walks out with Pamela Anderson, and when she sits down, I'm right behind her with a Diesel glove on, and I touch Pamela Anderson's hair and then adjust my Intercontinental belt. I said, oh, am I adjusting myself? That's kind of weird. And my mom's like, no, you're fixing your Intercontinental title.
What felt better, the hair or the belt?
The championship, baby. I was there on business, man. I wasn't trying to be distracted by any women. I wasn't even trying to touch Pamela Anderson. I was trying to touch Diesel, man. That was
The Big D.
all I wanted was a high five from the champ.
Is this her place?
Yeah, it's the place.
You shave your pubes?
Pardon?
Yeah, I'm gonna be straightforward with you. You shave your pubes?
Shit, no, I didn't. You know what? Just take me home. I don't want her to see my working.
I am not dropping you off this beautiful Latina princess with dirty pubes.
I can't just like rip it on my pubes off. Yo, Dad.
Well,
just
you're
take-
lucky I always stay strapped to my keister.
What's that?
Oh, it's a Manscaped lawnmower 3.0. Yeah, lifesaver.
How am I gonna shave it? I can't just like go into like her house and ask her.
We got 4 extra seats. Pick one.
Like shave like right here.
Yeah, right here.
She's right there.
She'll wait 5. No PCs.
Oh. Yeah. 1 second.
To the left a little bit.
Dad.
Hey.
Hey, Bobby. Is that a trimmer or are you happy to see me?
Oh, it's a trimmer. Use code BENT for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com.
Yeah, that's my boy. Now where the hell's my chapstick? Oh, this motherfucker. Oh. Yeah, there we go, all square.
I was a big WWE fan when I was a kid too. I say my top 2 were John Cena and Rey Mysterio.
Yep. John Cena, baby.
Have to go John Cena. Colin, you look like John Cena.
I've been told that. I mean, that's just coincidence, but
Besides the whole expressive personality and steroid part, that's you, man.
I don't really follow it as much anymore, but
Yeah.
I'm out the scene. I'm obsessed with MMA now, and that's my thing. And I run my own gym. I have my own business. I coach fighters and I fight myself. So I wear many hats.
Dude, I gotta make a trip to your gym and do a little video of me learn how to fight from you. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I'll teach you. I'll teach you anytime. You're on the East Coast, baby, Connecticut.
Hell yeah.
I don't know anyone that wants to go to Connecticut, but if you ever want to go to New York City, I'm only like an hour away. So
There we go.
I got a question for you. What made you decide to become a baller?
Man, so there's two reasons to that. One, I'm from Indiana. Indiana grows basketball talent, so it's in my genes. And two, it was honestly, I just no cap, as a kid say these days, with my condition. Like, it was like the only sport that I could play pretty decent at. Like soccer, I can't run. I can barely run, should I say. I can't even kick that hard. Football, I mean, it's like, you ever see that team that Jimmy Tatro steer, like that little 5-year-old running back got hand off the ball. He's just kind of jogging, and that one dude just crushes him.
Wow. This is really one of those heartwarming moments in sports where you just, oh! Oh my God. That is not good.
Yeah.
That would be me if I played football, so I have no shot. But basketball, bro, I just always shot in my driveway, being from Indiana, and I could only shoot one-handed. For some reason, I didn't have the strength because I have low muscle tone, so I could never shoot two hands or two arms. So it took me till my junior year of high school to learn how to shoot with two hands, and then I've always been a shooter, but I started playing like co-ed rec and then intramural leagues, and just shot literally every day I could and just became so good at it.
Yeah, I like that. I played ball a little bit as a kid too, but baseball ended up pulling me. And then all the kids got bigger than me. I was so small that I was like, man, I'm just going to try wrestling. But I actually won a 100-man game of knockout at the Basketball Hall of Fame. I went to school in Springfield, Mass. So the Basketball Hall of Fame, I still train out of Springfield, Mass pretty often for like my fight camps. And I went with my grandparents one day because my cousin was playing basketball, my little cousin. And I just like ended up winning with like 100 people there. And then I thought I was like some kind of big shot, good shooter. And then I was a camp counselor and I couldn't even beat second graders. So I guess I just had a good day.
So this is a serious question. Like, I mean, also, if you want a knockout competition, it can't be that hard. But it's like, did it take you a little longer to learn how to shoot a basketball? Is it pretty simple?
It's hard to determine. I never really dedicated myself to it. Growing up, I didn't actually really even think twice about having one hand that much. It didn't bug me as much as other people, maybe because I have such bad ADD that I was just so oblivious to everything else going on in the world. And it actually helped me with my one-handed thing. So my friends would play basketball and I would just play basketball with them. And I'm just competitive and I would shoot. And I grew up across the street from a school. So there was a basketball hoop right across the street. And I just played with my friends. And I was never like super passionate about it, but and even with wrestling, I started wrestling and like no one really gave me a hard time about having one hand, or like my coach used to yell at me all the time when I lost. I was like, man, why is this guy yelling at me all the time? Like it's like he like believed in me and like really wanted me to win. So I got kind of lucky that I was surrounded by people that like didn't let me get away with shit. They didn't let me get away like or use an excuse that I only have one hand to just give up or not try something. The individuals in my life were always hard on me, from my high school wrestling coach to my first MMA coach, who's still my coach now. And then when I was like already winning fights and starting to make a name for myself and like getting articles and stuff, people are like, that guy can't fight. And I'm like, well, no one ever told me that when I was learning how to do it. And then I just started beating people. So the people that say it can't be done shouldn't interrupt the person doing it.
Oh yeah, you paved your way without any excuses. It's incredible. You're an inspiration. Speaking of like one-hand basketball, there's a guy named Zach Hodgkins. He played for Florida University. He has an arm too. This dude could cross any of us over in a heartbeat. He's that good. Shaquem Griffin. Griffin. He's got obviously one hand. He's in the NFL. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Abbott was that guy when I was growing up. He was the only one. Only one. So like there was no internet. I didn't know, like I'm 34. So like I didn't know anyone else with one hand. It was just me and Jim Abbott. Now I go to these conferences and I can speak to people and I can do all these things with these people that have one hand and kind of reach out to them and kind of share my story. But growing up, it was like I didn't know anyone. So
Mhm.
I think that might have actually helped me just be like oblivious to it. Because I was like, oh, Jim Abbott, he plays in the MLB. He's throwing no hitters, baby. He plays for the Yankees. He's winning championships. He can do it. I can do it.
What you look like doesn't define you as a human being. It's how much work you put in your heart. And you've all four of you guys, even more out there, have shown it.
I was just looking through your shirt dog. I didn't know you fought Gaethje.
Yeah, we had a good scrap. If you look it up, we started off and we were scrapping. I knew he was gonna fight me, so I came out guns blazing. I was tagging him up at the beginning of the fight. I caught him a couple times, hurt him, and then I went for a takedown. And when I went for the takedown, he stuffed it. When I was getting up, he just hit me hard, and he kind of took over from there and ended up winning the fight. But it was a good scrap. If you look it up, it's online. You can watch the fight. So he ended up winning, but he's a good dude, man. I like him a lot, so I'm happy for him and all his success.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
I mean, talking to you and Randy Costa, our two UFC fighters, it seems like most UFC guys are, besides, when they're not trying to kill each other in the octagon, they're pretty good dudes outside the ring.
Yeah, I fight for actually a company called Bellator, which is really big. They just signed a deal with CBS and Showtime. So they've been really making some moves. The president, Scott Coker, used to own Strikeforce. Strikeforce got bought out by the UFC, and then he moved over to Bellator, and Bellator is making some waves. They just started a light heavyweight Grand Prix. They got Yoel Romero, Anthony Johnson, Corey Anderson, Lyoto Machida, Phil Davis. Like a lot of really big name guys are in it, and a lot of fighters are moving over to Bellator because they're just treating them really well.
We talked about this with Randy, but I recently started getting into watching fighting more, and it seems like I've really started to hear a lot more about Bellator, and I've heard their contracts are a little bit more favorable or better. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on who you are and who your manager is and what you're able to negotiate. But I definitely got a very nice contract, one that I like very much. And I had 2 fights get canceled after I weighed in and everything. So I made weight and I was ready to fight. And then the whole country shut down. Hey, so they canceled the fight and I was ready to fight. And then I rebooked the same guy and we were training. I was ready to fight. I weighed in, I went to bed, ready to fight the next day. And I tested positive for coronavirus. So they canceled it. But I never really got sick or anything like that. And Bellator took care of me both times. So I appreciate them.
Kind of related to you, I was preparing to lose my virginity at IU in March. And right before I flew out, Corona hit, world shut down, and bought a fleshlight, said fuck it.
Yeah, them couch cushions taking some abuse.
Speaking of that, one of our segments is called Mating with Mantis. Now, boys and girls, we're going to start to turn down the sound here and do a little smoother. So, Nick, we always ask all our guests for you to give me advice on whether it's obtaining a girlfriend or making a move with a girl, whatever it may be, whatever you got, lob it at me.
Yeah, I mean, you should be all set. You got, I don't want to say the wrong word because I guess I'm old. I guess I'm too old. I don't keep in with the lingo anymore, but you got a little swagger to yourself. You got a good personality. You're a good dude. Just be yourself and be comfortable, and you'll find the right person. When I was younger, I had a lot of issues with that too, and then I realized that actually more women like me than I thought. You're a funny guy, you're a good looking guy, so it's gonna happen, man. I saw that list, all the girls you've been smooching. It's not doing bad yourself, man. I'm sure when this podcast blows up and Joe Rogan's number 2, you're number 1, Rogan's number 2, then they'll be coming. You'll be like Mike Jones. You remember Mike Jones? Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me.
Like a Mike Jones. Well, hell yeah. I appreciate the words. That's a little fire to the fuel right there.
What are you looking forward to on the horizon? Kind of where you headed?
I just want to fight again. It's been a year. It's been over a year since I fought because I had those 2 fights canceled and I had a lot of stuff going on. So my goal right now is to just take a fight and win, and then start working my way up the division. There's nothing else to it. That's all it is. And keep going, keep winning, be successful, and see how much longer I can do this for.
Sounds like you're one of those guys too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just a guy, you just like to fight. I mean, you just like to be out there. And
yeah, I wouldn't say I'm one of those guys that would be fighting people in the street if I wasn't fighting in the cage, because that's definitely not true. I'm a nice guy. I try to avoid confrontation at all costs. I actually don't like it. I like it as a sport, and I enjoy training martial arts. So I'm definitely a martial artist through and through, and it's a commitment. And I don't do it for the fight. I do it for the passion, and I'll be training my whole life even after I'm done competing. Right now, I'm just whoever they give me, I'm good with, because I'm trying to still build my reputation. I still have more to prove.
We got one more good question for you. It's probably the hardest question. You see my videos. We know each other more now. What does bent mean to you?
I mean, when isn't getting bent like you get drunk or something?
That is the other definition. That's been the other popular. Is either you're getting drunk or you're, I guess the way I say it, is you overcome obstacles with what you're given.
There we go. Then you change the definition for me. It's a new definition.
You heard it here first. Ben is getting drunk. I've been waiting for someone to say that, because that is true. That is the new, like, y'all getting, I got bet this weekend.
Yeah, you can go out and get bent with the boys. You know, I'm gonna try my best to be bent and go out there and get these dubs. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh yeah, man. We appreciate you joining.
Yes.
This was awesome,
Thank
man.
you.
Hey, is that boy bent?